So, let's kick off a new series on Oracle 26 AI. Over the next few explainers, we are going to dig into what is, and I'm not exaggerating here, probably the single biggest leap forward for the Oracle database since it was first dreamed up back in the 70s. And we're going to start with a big one, the death of a tool we've all loved to hate for about 40 years, the wildcard search.
All right, let me tell you a story, because this will hit home if you've been in IT for a while. It's the 90s, I'm working at this huge bank, and a manager from HR calls me up. The request sounds so simple. Ed, find me a resume in our database that mentions bank security. Easy peasy, right?
So what do? I write the only query we had back then, a simple wildcard search, with the good old % sign. And you probably know where this is going. I hit enter, and I get 0 results. Nothing. Zilch. Now why? It's because the absolute perfect candidate for the job didn't use those exact words. Nope, they wrote financial institution protection. The meaning? Identical, but the letters? Totally different.
And that right there, that's the heart of the problem. For 40 years, our databases have been phenomenal at matching exact sequences of characters, but completely, utterly blind to the actual meaning behind our words. We've been fighting this battle for decades, but I'm here to tell you something incredible. With Oracle 26 AI, that war is finally over.
But look, before we jump into the amazing new solution, you really have to understand the journey we took to get here, this 40-year trek through a desert of flawed tools and painful workarounds. Understanding that history is the key to really appreciating just how revolutionary this all is.
You can really break this whole journey down into 3 distinct and, let's be honest, often painful phases. It all started back in the wildcard era. Then we evolved into the more powerful but complicated Oracle text era, and most recently, we all stumbled through what I like to call the vector DB panic.
The wildcard era, man, that was just brute force. That little % sign, it forced the database to scan every single row. It would absolutely melt CPUs, and of course, it was painfully literal. A search for Postgres would just completely whiff on Postgres with a hyphen. I mean, it was primitive, but hey, it was all we had. Then in the 2000s, things got better. Oracle gave us a much more powerful tool, Oracle Text. It was a huge step up, for sure, but it was heavy. You had to build and maintain these special, totally separate indexes that needed to be constantly synced up with your data. And after all that work, it still couldn't grasp the simplest relationships. It had no idea that a cat and a kitten are, basically the same thing conceptually.
And that brings us to just the last couple of years, with the whole AI boom. All of a sudden, everyone started panicking and rushing out to buy these separate standalone vector databases. We were literally moving our most sensitive, critical data out of our secure Oracle Fortress just to do these fancy AI searches. What a mess! It was a security nightmare, a compliance nightmare, and honestly, a total performance nightmare too.
In this quote, man, this just sums it all up, doesn't it? For decades, every clever workaround we came up with was just another piece of duct tape. We were trying to strap a futuristic AI engine onto a search concept that was fundamentally broken from the start. We were holding the whole thing together with duct tape and a prayer.
But with 26 AI, we're not patching the old engine anymore. We are throwing it out and getting a brand new one, built right into the core of the database itself. It's called Semantic Search, and it doesn't match letters. It calculates meaning.
So how in the world does that work? Well, with Semantic Search, the database stops asking, hey, do these letters match? Instead, it starts asking a much smarter question. How close are the meanings of these two concepts? It's actually calculating the mathematical distance between ideas.
And this is a brilliant way to think about it. You take a concept, anything, like golden retriever. An AI model then translates that idea into a long list of numbers. We call that a vector. But you can just think of that vector as a set of coordinates, like on a giant, complex map of meaning. So then a similar concept, like yellow dog, gets translated into its own set of coordinates that land very, very close by on that same map. Why are they close? Because their meanings are close. It's that intuitive.
So, if you remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. Forget matching. The entire paradigm has shifted. The new world is all about calculating distance. The shorter the distance between two of those vectors on our map, the more similar their meanings are. Period.
Okay, so that's the theory. But what does this actually look like when you're writing code? I mean, the concept is powerful, but seeing how simple the code is, that's where your jaw really hits the floor.
Just look at this. To get our old resumes table ready for AI, we don't need a whole separate database, we don't need a massive project. We just add one single new column with a new data type called vector. That's it. The database can even use an AI model to automatically generate that vector from the resume text for us. It is just that simple.
And right here, this is the aha moment. On the left, you see the old way, that clunky, brittle like query. And on the right, the new way. It's beautiful, isn't it? Instead of telling the database what to match, we just ask it to find the closest thing. We're not hunting for letters anymore. We just say order by vector distance. Find me the closest meaning. Let's just say that one more time, because it really is the fundamental shift in thinking. We are no longer asking the database for an exact character-by-character match. We are asking it to find the concepts with the shortest distance, the closest meaning, to whatever it is we're looking for. This is how you find financial institution protection when you search for bank security.
So why do I, as someone who's been doing this for decades, get so fired up about this? It's not just that the tech is cool. It's about how this one change removes so much friction and frustration that we've just accepted as normal for our entire careers.
This is it. This is the big payoff. I can't tell you how many hours of my life I've spent in painful meetings trying to explain to a business user why their search for a customer failed just because they missed a hyphen or used an abbreviation. Those conversations, they're just over, gone. And the good news just keeps rolling in. I don't have to explain some ridiculously complex workaround to a junior developer anymore. I can tell a manager to go ahead and search for project success, and I know the database is smart enough to find a document called Q3 Review if that's the most relevant result. For the very first time, the technology just works the way a normal human being would expect it to work. It's incredible.
And so, after 40 long years of service and suffering, the era of the wildcard search is officially over. It's dead. The future of how we find and interact with our data is built on meaning, and its foundation is the vector.
But listen, this is just scratching the surface of what 26 AI can do. In our next explainer, we're going to tackle another 40-year war, the never-ending battle between developers and DBAs. We'll see how a crazy new feature might actually, finally, bring peace to the land. Trust me, you are not going to want to miss that one.